What's up everybody, Brandon Wersch here and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to take a look at a recent nutritional guideline that was posted by the World Health Organization in regards to COVID-19. The reason why I'm bringing this to your attention is because I don't agree with some of the things that were posted here. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So first off, I'd like to say that I agree with right around 75% of what this guideline is recommending. My problem is a lot of this information is out of date. So we're going back to the days of like the food pyramid and talking about how you should be consuming a lot of carbohydrates and stay away from fats. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first problem that I see with this guideline. In the Eat Fresh and Unprocessed Food Every Day section, they recommend consuming 180 grams of grains per day. First off, that's way too many carbohydrates for the average American to be consuming. No one's that active where they should be burning that many carbohydrates. What I would recommend is consume most of your carbs from things like vegetables or things like sweet potatoes that are complex carbohydrates that are going to give you energy plus fiber plus micronutrients. Grains, unfortunately, are very different today than they were just 100 years ago or a few thousand years ago. For instance, wheat has been heavily genetically modified to be able to produce these massive yields. And as you guys know, it's full of gluten. And gluten is a protein that for most of us in modern society doesn't agree with our stomachs. It actually causes irritable bowel syndrome. It causes GI distress. And we're seeing that it even is related to leaky gut syndrome. So I'm not recommending that people consume that many carbs each day unless they're an athlete. And even then, I wouldn't say 180 grams of grains is a good idea. So that's my first problem with this. The second problem that I have with this guideline is in the eat moderate amounts of fat and oil. In there, it says consume unsaturated fats found in fish, avocado, nuts, and olive oil. So far, so good. The next part says soy, canola oil, sunflower oil, and corn oil, rather than saturated fats, e.g. found in fatty meats, butter, palm, coconut oil, cream cheese, ghee, and lard. So you're telling me avoid natural fats found in nature, but instead substitute that for unsaturated fats, specifically heavily processed hydrogenated oils like corn oil, canola, and sunflower oil. How the hell does that make sense? Those fats, we know now, are highly inflammatory. The omega-3 to omega-6 ratios are completely out of whack. Consuming those oils causes nothing but inflammation in your body. I don't recommend anybody consume canola oil or sunflower oil or corn oil. That's mostly what's in processed foods or the food-like products that you're seeing in the stores. So for them to recommend substituting saturated fat because we used to demonize it thinking that it was bad because of all the bullshit propaganda that was associated with saturated fats and heart disease back in the 70s and 80s, that's not true anymore. We know that saturated fats are healthy. Those types of fats in moderation are good for our brain. They're good for our liver. They're good for our metabolic health, our cells function. We produce cholesterol in every one of our cells in our body. So to tell somebody not to have saturated fat in their diet and instead substitute it for processed fat and hydrogenated oils is just, that's terrible advice. Which actually brings up another point that I wanted to make. A lot of those recommendations are what's led us to some of the risk factors that we're seeing with COVID-19. Do you guys remember in my previous video, I talk about hypertension, obesity, heart disease. Those are type 2 diabetes. Those are all risk factors for COVID-19. These types of guidelines are what led to us having such high obesity rating here in the United States, telling people sugar's okay, saturated fats are bad because of misinformation in science. So now we're recommending the same thing that's giving people the high risk factors for COVID-19. And this is a COVID-19 specific article that's published on the World Health Organization. Bro, come on. If you guys need a nutritionist, I got you. Hire me. I need some money right now for grad school. Let's go. Because this is shit advice. Terrible advice. Okay. Let's get back on track here. What's next? We got opt for low fat or reduced fat versions of milk and dairy products. why? Once again with the fat. Why do you guys hate fat so much? And why are you telling people to have low fat? They're stripping a lot of the nutrients that are in milk or cheeses or things like that, and they're telling people to have sugary rich low fat milk. Like, stop it. All right, then we got avoid industry produced trans fats. They're often found in processed foods, fast foods, snack foods. Yeah, I agree with that. That's good. Eat less salt and sugar, also great. Avoid eating out. Yeah, so for the most part, everything else is fine. My rant is really associated with the grain consumption and the fat consumption. Let's not demonize fats here, okay? The grains are more problematic than the saturated fats. I think if more people substituted that for the fats, we'd be in a much healthier place here as a society. So yeah, this wasn't meant to be like, hey, listen to me, my diet advice is best, because really in reality, there is no one size fits all diet. There is no, hey, do this and everybody will have the same results consuming these types of foods. I think it's irresponsible for them to provide this type of information, especially from the World Health Organization, because it's tough to provide guidelines for the entire population. Every culture is different, every nationality is different, and because of that, everybody's gonna have different diets and different things that they consume on a day-to-day basis, and what works for me might not work for the other person. That's what they should be promoting on here, is not like, hey, this is the blueprint from like 1990 of food pyramid. Like, this is old information. So like I said, I agree with 75% of what they posted here. There's a lot of stuff that is completely out of date. I just wanted to point that out to you guys to show you that even these big guys like the World Health Organization don't really know what they're talking about when it comes to nutrition. So let's go ahead and leave the nutrition advice to the professionals, yes? Or maybe hire some professionals before you post something like this. This is pretty bad. That's gonna wrap it up for today's video. Short and sweet. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like, subscribe, and as always, guys, be healthy, be active, and be yourself. Everyone's got something to give this world. You just gotta go out there and give it. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.